And for your Sports Zone for today, taking a look at the NFL playoffs that took place over the weekend in the divisional round in the AFC divisional. Last night's game, it was the Broncos over the Chargers, 24-17. The Denver Broncos advance to the AFC Championship game, which they will host as the top seed in the conference. And they will take on the New England Patriots, whom defeated the Indianapolis Colts Saturday, 43-22 in the other AFC divisional. It's not NFC as it shows there, but the Patriots and the Broncos match up for the AFC Championship next Sunday. And in one of the NFC divisional playoff games, it was the Seahawks over the Saints, 23-15. And the Seahawks, as the number one seed in the NFC, will advance to the NFC Championship and host the championship game next Sunday, as they will take on the San Francisco 49ers, which the 49ers defeated the Carolina Panthers on the road in North Carolina, 23-10. So the 49ers were the fifth seed in the NFL playoffs, but certainly not considered, this isn't necessarily a Cinderella run, as you would say, through the playoffs. They were one of the better teams in the NFC and finished second to the Seattle Seahawks in the NFC West. They're in the same division, and how the seedings work, there's 6 teams in each conference that move on. There's 4 divisions, 6 teams, so there's 4 division winners that go to the playoffs, plus 2 wild card teams with basically the best record other than the division winners. And they're a 12-4 team, so if it came down to just seedings, they'd probably be a 2 or 3 seed, but since the division winners take up the first 4 seeds, regardless of record, they were just having to be a 5 seed as a wild card team behind the Seattle Seahawks. So it pretty much comes down to the 2 best teams in the NFC conference between the Seahawks and the 49ers for the NFC. On the AFC side, it's the Broncos hosting the New England Patriots. And both of these teams in these conference championships have matched up once this year. Previously, back in Week 12, I believe it was, the Broncos went on the road to play in Foxborough to play New England, and what a game that was. The Broncos had a 24-0 lead at halftime and basically blew that lead, and in overtime, the very end of the overtime period, a miscue on special teams by the Broncos with a chance to go down and win the game. With one final drive, they had a miscue on the special teams return, on a punt return, accidentally hit a Broncos and trying to cover the punt, or actually block for the punt. Tony Carter, cornerback on the special teams unit, ran into the punt and set up an easy field goal for the Patriots to win it in overtime, 34-31. On the other side, it was the San Francisco 49ers losing at Seattle quite handily there in Seattle, as Seattle defeated the San Francisco 49ers. I'm not exactly sure which week that was, but defeated them quite handily earlier in the year. But you can just throw the records out. They don't matter now. It all comes down to one game, one conference championship game on both sides. The winner advancing to the Super Bowl that will be held in New York, MetLife Stadium, on February, I think it's 2nd or 3rd. Might be 3rd, or it's 2nd or 3rd. Either one. It's going to be in New York. It'll be the first ever, I don't know about first ever. Well, yeah, it probably will be the first ever cold Super Bowl game in the Super Bowl era. Not necessarily NFL championship, but the Super Bowl era. They always put it in a warm designation, whether it be California, Texas, Florida, North Carolina. It's always in the southern part of the country, so they can have a good climate for the game. But this year it's just kind of a toss-up. Temperatures probably be in the 40 degree range for the Super Bowl this year. So it'll be the first time, probably the last time. Certainly if there's going to be weather, they probably won't do it again. But it's the first ever cold Super Bowl game, as they're calling it, at MetLife Stadium this February in New York. And taking a look at the high school basketball games that took place Friday evening, and in a game that we brought to you live here Friday night on YHC, it was Hockham versus Campbell. Hockham coming out with that victory, 58-41. Nice victory for the Hockham Hornets in the Boot Hill Conference. Also in a close one in the Stoddard County Conference, it was Bernie over Advance, 84-83. Also Crothersville over Portageville, and a big win, win handily over Portageville in the Blue Hill Conference, 85-56. Charleston over Malden, 82-64. Oran over Saxony Lutheran, 75-64. East Prairie over Bloomfield, 52-38. Chaffee over Scott City, 73-67. Dexter over Woodland in the Stoddard County Conference, 50-43. Bell City over Richland, 54-26 in the Stoddard County Conference. And Hayti over Risco, 74-55. Twin Rivers over Donovan in the Ozark Foothills Conference, 68-40. And also we have South Pemiscot over North Pemiscot in that Pemiscot County Showdown, 66-20. Neelyville over Nailers, 77-60. And Zalma over Delta, 75-34. Those are the games that took place Friday night here in our area. And we brought that Campbell and Hawkham game to you Friday night. And we've got a couple more games this week to look forward to. Let's take a look at our schedule for this week. We've got this Tuesday night, tomorrow night, we've got Risco at Clarkton. Big Tri-County Conference showdown there in Clarkton tomorrow night, and that'll be live. This will be the first live broadcast we're able to do from Clarkton, so check that out tomorrow night. Risco and Clarkton. Should be a good one there in Clarkton. Also, this coming Friday night, we've got a big rivalry game in the Stoddard County Conference. It's Bernie at Dexter this Friday night. Always a big game between those two teams each year. And taking a look at next Monday night, we've got Bernie at Hawkham. Next Monday night, we're not sure if we'll be able to do that one live or not. That's still a toss-up there from Hawkham. And that's pretty much all to report for the Sport Zone for today.